Hey everybody, welcome to the channel. Hope you guys are doing well today. In this video, I'll show you guys a handful of platforms where I currently have some stables parked or where I plan to park some stables once I begin cashing out my crypto positions. Aside from watching my videos, another good way to stay up with these lending platforms is by joining my Discord channel. It's a great way for you guys to get testimonials from my subscribers, and occasionally what they mention in the respective channels does weigh on me when I'm deciding where to park my stables. Or you could subscribe to my free newsletter. One of my buddies writes the Monday and Tuesday edition. Every week he'll update you on at least one lending platform that he's currently using, and if you guys upgrade to the paid version of the newsletter, he'll share upcoming moves that he's making and also the balances he has on the various lending platforms. So before listening to the rest of the video, I would strongly encourage you guys to join the conversation on Discord and also sign up for the free version of the newsletter by clicking the link in the description below and entering your email address. With the intro out of the way, let's go ahead and dive into this video. Alright, to begin with, we're going to cover Nexo first. By the way, if you guys want to jump around, I did include timestamps in the description below. But coming back to the video, Nexo and Celsius were in fact the very first few platforms that I personally used. In fact, when I got exposure to the Nexo and Cel token, they were both trading less than 5 cents. And despite them having gone up so much, I still feel like they have some upside, especially in the next 2 to 4 months. And it makes sense why the price of the token is going up. They're constantly adding additional utility to the token. As you can see here, I'm eligible for the platinum tier, and as a result, I'm getting a 6.9% borrow rate. I'm getting additional yield paid out in Nexo tokens, and I even get 5 free crypto withdrawals every month, which is great given how expensive the network fees have gotten. And one of the big reasons why I like Nexo is that their yields are usually very competitive. Despite other platforms slashing yields for Bitcoin and Ethereum, in my experience, the APRs on Nexo have been relatively constant. And aside from DeFi protocols, they're offering some pretty robust rates, for example, DOT and AVEX at 17% APR. And on your stables, you can earn 12%, which is great because 10% is paid in likes, so I'll get more USD, but 2% I get in Nexo tokens. So it's almost like my large balance of stablecoins is dollar cost averaging into Nexo on a daily basis. And you heard that right, the payouts are daily, which means that they also compound daily. Also, they make it super easy for people to take out dynamically adjustable credit lines. And if you guys want to learn more about how to leverage that dynamically adjustable credit line, make sure you guys watch one of my past Nexo videos that I'll link in the description below for you guys. But using this strategy, I've been able to extract massive profits from the crypto market. And with the market getting ready for another big impulse up, in my opinion, it's actually not a bad time to leverage up a little bit. Another reason I was thinking about parking a lot of my stables here in Nexo was because of this card that they've been promising for months now. I figured it would be a great way to earn yield on my stables and also have an easy way to spend that yield for everyday expenses. Now, what makes me a little bit nervous about putting large amounts of capital into Nexo is the fact that one of my subscribers got sent this email requesting for a lot of personal information. Now, we did have money transferring between his bank account and Nexo, so there's a good possibility that maybe I won't have any issues because I'm just working with stables and I'm not using a bank. But nonetheless, it's something that you guys should be fully aware of. They wanted pay slips and bank statements reflecting income proceeds from the last 3 months, personal income tax return for the last financial year, supporting documents confirming the acquisition of the crypto assets, screenshots of the exchange broker accounts displaying account details such as name and or email address, screenshots of purchase and withdrawal confirmation displaying account ID and all transaction details, confirmation emails which provide proof of purchase or withdrawal, screenshots of transaction history displaying profits. And to be fair to Nexo, I wouldn't be surprised if we saw this from other CeFi platforms like Celsius or BlockFi, especially heading into next year as more and more people are making immense profits off the crypto market. Because rather than having regulators up their ass and sending cease and desist letters, most of these CeFi platforms are going to do whatever it takes to remain in business. And also, I expect the regulators, especially within the next 6 months, to come down with rules that require even more data collection and KYC. But nonetheless, I'm still glad that I learned all of this ahead of making a large deposit onto the Nexo platform. But to date, personally, I've had no issues, and Nexo has been a very reliable way for me to earn yield on the various crypto assets that I own. So from that standpoint, I would highly recommend that you guys check out Nexo when you have some time, especially if your focus is just to earn yield on your crypto assets, because there's a high probability that you guys, like me, are going to love the service. Next up, we have Celsius. This is actually the platform that my subscriber who was complaining about Nexo's reporting requirements, he actually transferred most of his funds over to Celsius. Unlike Nexo, Celsius distributes the yields on a weekly basis, so you're not compounding the yield daily, you're compounding it on a weekly basis. But like Nexo, they're very reliable, and they also have a loan product that you guys can utilize to leverage your crypto assets. And depending on which asset you use and what the LTV is, you can borrow at a 1% APR. Now, when you compare the yields with Nexo, you can see that they're not as competitive, but they're still pretty robust. And unlike other platforms that limit the amount of stablecoin deposits you can earn a yield on, Celsius and Nexo are some of the few platforms that still don't impose limits on how many stablecoins you guys can deposit to extract their maximum yield. But like many other platforms, Celsius does impose limits on how many BTC and ETH you can earn a yield on, but the yields are somewhat comparable to what you would get on Nexo. And on top of that, they also have a swap feature coming, which makes it a lot easier to manage your portfolio. For instance, maybe you wanted to commit to a portfolio allocation of, let's say, 80% stable coins and 20% crypto during the bear market. And when the allocation, let's say, gets to 95% stables and 5% crypto, you can, with the click of a button, convert some of your USDC or stables and bring the crypto allocation back up to 20%. Also, in a future video, I'll talk more about a strategy that I'm currently working on. And basically, just to give you a gist of what it's about, I would use my stablecoin yield to dollar cost into crypto, and I would use my crypto yield to de-risk. This way, regardless of which way the market's headed up or down, I'll benefit regardless. And just like Nexo, they do plan to come out with the card. It's a work in progress. Hopefully when the card comes out, they make it very easy for users to spend the yield that they're earning on their stables. Now, the one thing I do have a problem with is the sell token. In some of my past videos where I've talked about the sell token, I've talked about the flywheel effect in a lot of detail. And the reason I think the price hasn't increased to reflect a huge increase in TVL is because the CEO has been dumping his sell tokens along with other people. And until they're done dumping their sell tokens, I think the price is going to stay capped. And that's why about a month ago, I told people in my private Discord channel that I was selling some of my sell tokens for tokens like Rune, Nexo that I think are primed to pump. But I did end up keeping a small bag of sell tokens because I have a feeling that in the future, if they add more utility and benefits, I may stand to benefit a lot. And also my cost average for each token was less than 5 cents. Next up, we have Hodlnaut. This is another platform which I've done a full video review of. You guys can check that out in the description below. The reason why I was thinking about depositing some of my stables here is because their yields were very competitive. Like the previous two platforms, they do have a swap feature which makes portfolio management, again, very easy. And what's unique about their swap is that you can actually convert your BTC to wrapped BTC. And to me, this is somewhat important given that I'm very deeply involved in DeFi and I get a lot of my yield from protocols. And if you guys are looking for a cost-effective way to convert your BTC into WBTC, this could be one of the methods you guys use to make that happen. But ultimately, I probably won't end up depositing a large portion of my stables here because they do impose limitations on how much you can earn 12% on. So what I'll probably end up doing is depositing some of my money here. That way I can diversify my third-party risk and also take advantage of their very robust stablecoin yields. But if you guys decide to follow in my footsteps, just be a little bit careful because I've heard from other people that Hodlnaut has a very probing KYC process. So what I would suggest that you do is if you see any of these yields attractive or you're into the platform, sign up for the services. But if the KYC requirement's a little bit too much for you, then you could just stop the KYC process and just move on to a different CeFi platform. Next up, we have Ledn. Just like the other platforms, you guys can borrow against your crypto assets, you guys can swap crypto assets. But what makes this one unique is that you can actually leverage up your Bitcoin position with just one click. Oftentimes what people do, like myself, is we'll go ahead and borrow against our crypto assets to buy even more crypto assets. And to do that, you have to borrow against your Bitcoin and then use that borrowed amount to buy spot Bitcoin off the market. With B2X loans, you can do that with just a few clicks, but be careful if you end up choosing this route because you have to buy spot Bitcoin at whatever price that they buy it for you at. And so if the third party charges them a large premium, it's going to be passed on to you. So before you guys use a service like this, make sure you guys read all the details of the terms, but especially pay attention to what price they're paying to buy the Bitcoin. And what gives me more confidence about this platforms and their long-term viability is the fact that I've talked to the founder myself, and also they've been able to secure very reputable and high-profile investors. And even though the rates of Bitcoin and stablecoins have gone up and down a little bit due to market volatility, for the most part, they've kept the rates very competitive in my opinion. Now, the downside of using a platform like this is that you don't get a lot of diversity. You can only earn interest on Bitcoin and stablecoins. But unlike Hodlnaut and other platforms, they don't limit the amount of stablecoins you can deposit. Regardless of the amount that you deposit with them, you're going to earn this APY of 9.5%. Now with Bitcoin, it's just the same as any other platform. They have a tier-based approach. The first Bitcoin gets 6.25%. Anything after that will earn 2.25%. So these are the CeFi lending platforms that I'm likely to deposit most of my stablecoins on. Now things could potentially change as I get more information, we get more regulatory clarity. So I would suggest that you guys follow along, you guys join the Discord channel. This way, when December and Q1 rolls around and I start actually making moves and cashing out my stables, you guys will be the first to know where I end up depositing most of my stables. I also plan to keep some of my stable coins in DeFi protocols. Now with DeFi protocols, they're more risky, so I probably won't put most of my deposits there. And if you guys want to keep up to date with protocols that I'm personally interested in, that I'm experimenting with, many times I mention them on Twitter, and I definitely mention them in my private newsletter. And by the way, all the platforms that I covered today, I've done full video reviews on all of them. I'll include links to all those videos in the description below. And lastly, if you guys needed some help navigating these CeFi platforms or DeFi protocols, if you guys end up signing up for one of the higher tiers that I have for Patreon, you can get one-on-one dialogue with me. Or if you guys wanted to join my private Discord channel where I publish my moves in real time and also get the free version of my paid newsletter by signing up for the lowest tier I have here on Patreon, you'll get all that and more. Now, if none of these packages work for you and you wanted a more customized package, make sure you guys reach out to me and we can go ahead and discuss something on Twitter or Discord. Well, that pretty much wraps things up. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. This is CryptoOneStop signing out. I'll talk to you folks next time. Bye.